You're with us. Stay with us. And she was determined, and she had different reasons. And one of the reasons was, yeah, it's definitely not working. Okay, we'll pretend that it's working. I'll hold it. She wanted to purify herself by undergoing austerities for some time and live a quiet life. And her sons wanted her to stay, and she was very determined, and she left despite what they advised her or requested of her. Mother knows best, right? So she spent 15 years, according to this biography, this Mahabharata rendering, she spent 15 years living in a forest. Now there's two versions. There's the Bhagavatam version, and then there's the Mahabharata version. And the Bhagavatam version says very clearly, Dhritarashtra, after his purification and austerities, etc., 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 he was a very powerful person. And by Ashtanga Yoga, he ignited his own body in meditation. And Gandhari entered. Doesn't say anything about Kunti. Nothing. Mahabharata says all three of them, there's detail, all three of them were in the forest, and for 15 years, Kunti, was with Dhritarashtra, and then there was this big forest fire. And Sanjaya was with them. Sanjaya, because Kunti was the guide for Gandhari, because Gandhari was still blindfolded. Sanjaya was the guide for Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra was blind. So they were there in that capacity of service to the two. And so when the fire came, Sanjaya didn't know what to do. Sanjaya didn't know what to do. So he asked Dhritarashtra what to do. And Dhritarashtra said, Kunti wants to be with us. You don't have to be here. You should leave here before it's too late. And he said, yeah, but you can't see. And he was very loyal to Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra said it again, and so he left. And this is being narrated to Yudhishthira. Your mother, this and that, Dhritarashtra, this and that, Sanjaya, this and that. And it was Narada Muni narrating all of this. And so they according to Mahabharata, all three went up in flames into the fire. And later their bones were found to verify that they died in the fire. And so what was her destiny? That's like a natural question. What's the destiny of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari? Gandhari went wherever he went. That was her dedication. And the understanding is Dhritarashtra, attained heavenly destination. Which planet in Swarga doesn't say, but heaven. And Gandhar and Kunti, she's an eternal associate of Krishna. And where this was all taking place, where was it? Haridwar. What does Haridwar mean? The doorway to Hari, Dham. She went back to Godhead. So that was a little bit of research. Now we're ready for 3 more verses for Kunti's prayers. And let's hope the sound system works. We'll find out in a moment.
Urajam jatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yado priyasyan bhavaye madayasiva chandana
Nishidabor ajam jatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yado priyasyan bhavaye. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. Krishna, this is Kunti speaking to Krishna. King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. Now, Krishna, by age, is not, Yadu isn't one of his devotees, but by transcendental position, Yadu is a Vaishnava. He's a worshiper of Krishna. So he's one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya Hills. So the painting you all recognize, this is Gargamuni conducting. What happened? Went away? Oh, it's on strike, huh? What are you going to do? No, nothing happened? Oh my. Computer problems. But it's not my computer, it's this thing. So maybe shut this off and turn it back on again. It's not connected at all.
I'm just testing.
You're going to checking. Okay, he's checking. Yeah.
Okay.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Look at, they just came back again. And we're not plugged in at all. This screen is in Maya.
Okay.
Okay, so we're taking a look at a nice painting, Gargamuni, and his name-giving ceremony, and present are Nanda and Yashoda, and who else? Rohini. Nice. So, Krishna appeared in the family of Yadu. When Yadu was his dear devotee, but you appeared in his family. So it's like the age difference is quite contrasting. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. There are many opinions about the cause of your appearance. And then he makes this comment, that's a very interesting one. Punya Shloka. In this case, here, it refers to Yudhishthira, since he was famous by that name at that time, in case you didn't know. Punya Shloka refers to, because Punya Shloka, going back to the verse, the glorification of pious kings. Punya Shloka. That's Prabhupada's translation, appropriate translation. But Vishwanath is adding another meaning is this one. It's Yudhishthira. So names of Krishna are in relation to his devotees. That's the rest of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. So Yadava is he's glorifying Yadu, his devotee, as in Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunandana, etc., names of Krishna. And in other cases, in Dwarka, oops, what happened here? This is the city of Dwarka. Oh, yeah, Yadunanda, because the Yadu dynasty was Yadu and Vrishni and Andaka, all ancestors of the contemporaries of Dwarka, were residing, the descendants were residing in Dwarka. So the ancient Dwarka. Just interesting depiction. Lord Sri Krishna is just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. And we discussed this yesterday, day before yesterday. The sandalwood can grow anywhere, but it's Malaya Chandan is a celebrated name because it is abundantly available in Malaya, and people seem to like the sandalwood from Malaya. And Parthasarathi, another name of Krishna that comes from his relationship of friendship with Arjuna, not only friendship, but the Sarathi, his chariot driver. And Nandanandana and Yasodanandana, etc. Next verse.
Apare vasudevasya devakyam yachito vyaghat ajastvam asya shimaya vadhaya chasuradusham
Apare
devakyam yachito
Adhyatvam Akshashemaya. You have a different way of singing than she does. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you're unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Going back to the advent of Krishna and the demigods coming to the shore of the Milk Ocean and offering their prayers, help, the demons, demoniac kings abundant all over the surface of the earth, help. So he agreed to come and deal with those envious kings. Vasudeva and Devaki, Vasudeva Nandana and Devaki Nandana. Nice painting, B.G. Sharma, classic painting. So Krishna's there, and they're with folded palms, seeing their son standing before them in a forearm form. That must have been very interesting, huh? So here's a little chart. You all like charts, so here's a nice chart. The parental affection, 3 times Krishna appeared. First, chronologically, Prishnigarbha, as the son of Prishni and Sutapa. And then again, the same personality of Godhead, second time, Upendra, the son of Kashyapa and Aditi, or Vamana, the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. And then Krishna, appearing as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, was Vasudeva. So 3 times Krishna appeared. Now there's a detail, but it's a nice detail, that Prishnigarbha is the name that's identified in Canto 2, Chapter 7, because Canto 2, Chapter 7, there's a list of incarnations, just like in Canto 1, Chapter 3, so also Canto 2, Chapter 7, a list of incarnations. And the list of incarnations includes the incarnation of the Lord who appeared as before Dhruva Maharaj was Prishnigarbha. It's a detail, but it's a nice detail. Vamana, or Upendra, appeared as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. Nice painting. One more verse. Others say, there's lots of opinions. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble, which is similar to the previous, relieving the burden from the enemies of the demigods. So there's Brahma as the son of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and his receiving his mantra from Krishna's flute song, the cover of Sri Brahma Samhita. So this explanation, the little explanation, is that the Narayana is another name of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Narayana as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Without contact with Lakshmi, he begot Lord Brahma. So he, the Supreme Lord, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, is capable of generating living entities without the assistance of his wife. I hear an echo. Okay, let's see what happens. Another nice painting indicating the same. So this is a nice painting. It's similar to the next painting. We know that there's Lord Brahma on the right side, and there's Mother Earth in the form of the cow, and then there's other demigods behind Lord Brahma, and they're standing at the shore of the Milk Ocean. How do we know the shore of the Milk Ocean? Because we see some fish swimming around in there, in that Milk Ocean. Who knows if the Milk Ocean has fish? And then there's Garuda by the side of Lord Vishnu, and there's the goddess of fortune at his lotus feet. And Brahma offers the prayers, Brahma hears the reply, Brahma is supposed to relay the message to the demigods standing behind him. You take birth on earth first and assist me, and so forth and so on. And one other detail is this place where Garbhodakshai Vishnu resides is an island, Sweta Dweep, the abode of Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Lord, the ocean of milk. And then you can see the various demigods. And offering, there's Lord Shiva on the left side, and the demigods are... Now, the demigod, this painting shows that they are able to see, but the indication is no one could see. Brahma could, they knew where they were, but Brahma could hear, and Brahma heard the reply. But anyway, it's a nice painting. And this is our final verse for today.
Sravana smaranarhani Kichana Bhavismin Krishamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhim Sravana Smaranarhani Karishyan Kichana Bhavismin Krishamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhim Sravana Smaranarhani
So there's Lord Vishnu and the 8 attendants to Lord Vishnu, again, 4-armed, looking much like him. And so this is the Vaikuntha realm. And yet others say that you appear to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So that's true. All of these are true, right? Not any one of these is false. So I want to read something from the Bhagavatam. This is a verse, as you can see from the painting. It's a verse spoken by Yamaraj and the fellows in front of him, that's the Yamadutas. This is Canto 6, Chapter 3, which means after the Yamadutas were checked by the Vishnu Dutas, and the Vishnu Dutas were asking the Yamadutas, what's the basis of your arresting him? What's the principles of Dharma? And when they examined him, they found, you got an F in your exam, guys. You go back to Yamaraj and get your instructions straight. Didn't say it quite like that, but. So they went back and they were like, wait a minute. Who were those people that stopped us? And a very nice question. We thought you're the supreme personality of Godhead. Whoever has stopped death, please tell us. So you're supreme. Death is supreme, right? But who are these other fellows? And that means they're representing some higher authority than you? Please explain. So then Yamaraj explains. And here's the verse and the purport from 6.3.19. It starts with Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. That's how the verse starts. Religion, real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although fully situated in the mode of goodness. Even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of Siddhaloka, to say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, vidyadharas and charanas. I find it very interesting. In this list, the vidyadharas and the charanas are listed along with ordinary human beings and asuras. Because remember, Chitraketu became the king of Vidyadhara Loka, and he had this vimana that could travel around anywhere in the universe. And so I had this impression Vidyadharas are in this Bhuvar Loka region above the earthly realm. And somehow they're in this list of asuras, ordinary people, and charanas. It's similarly, when Hanuman was traveling through the sky, he was following the path of the charanas. Yes? Yes. So they're higher beings. Somehow they're in this list of ordinary beings, asuras and vidyadharas and charanas. So I don't have an explanation for that. When challenged by, this is Prabhupada's purport, when challenged by the Vishnu Dutas to describe the principles of religion, the Yamadutas said, Vedo pranihito dharma. The principles of dharma are enacted in Vedic literature. They did not know, however, that the Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies that are not transcendental, but are meant to keep peace and order among materialistic persons in the material world. Real religion, real religious principles are nishtraigunya, above the three modes of material nature or transcendental. The Yamadutas did not know that these transcendental religious principles, and therefore, when prevented from arresting a Jamila, they were surprised. Materialistic persons who attach all their faith to Vedic rituals are described in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Vedavadarata partha nanyad astiti vadanaha. The supposed followers of the Vedas say that there's nothing beyond the Vedic ceremonies. Indeed, there is a group of men in India who are very fond of Vedic rituals, not understanding the meaning of these rituals, which are intended to elevate one gradually to the transcendental platform of knowing Krishna. Vedaish desire vire aham eva vedyaha. Those who do not know this principle, but who simply attach their faith to the Vedic rituals are called Veda Vadarata. So that's one paragraph out of the purport. So the personality of God, it descends to once again verify the real purpose of the Vedas. The real purpose of the Vedas, we know from Bhagavad Gita, the purpose is to know Him. The purpose isn't material elevation. There is certainly material elevation, and that's a Vedic discipline. And one can be faithful. There's like this. Why are the different religions? It's one of the answers. One of the main answers is people don't understand the relationship between the steps that lead to higher, lead to higher, lead to higher, lead to higher, and they see this, and that's it. They see that, and that's it. And they see the next thing, and they don't see the connection, the big picture of the purpose of the Vedas. That's one explanation of why different, because that was our topic for the, but I wasn't ready to give that answer to that audience because what are they going to understand about all that? So I did something else. Now this is a quiz time. You all like quizzes. So the quiz is, there's 9 processes of bhakti mentioned in this second paragraph. And I'm going to ask for someone to raise their hand, not blurt it out. Who is the person who represents perfection, achieving perfection through the process of hearing? Who achieved perfection? Don't look at the screen. Who achieved perfection? Maharaj Parikshit. Chanting? Sukadeva Goswami. We're doing very well so far. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Who achieved perfection through Prahlad Maharaj. Very good. You did that without looking, huh? Oh, she looked. Oh. Okay, our assiduous writer back here. Are you the one that's going to give the little report? No? You're just taking notes. Okay. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. Worshipping the lotus feet. Who is it that worships the lotus feet? Don't look at the screen. Pada Sevanam. Who is it that worships the lotus feet? No, it says it's a Mataji. Lakshmi. Oh, yeah. Okay, Pada Sevanam. Then this is a good one. Archanam. Don't look. Who achieves spiritual perfection through the process of Archanam, deity worship? His name starts with a P. Prithu. 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 Well, he certainly did deity worship, but that's not how he achieved perfection. Which perfection? He did all of them. And you could say, constant remembrance. He or surrendered everything. You could say that one too. He was pretty good. He certainly did deity worship. What deity? Let me ask you. What deity did he worship? What deity did Ambarish Maharaj worship? Krishna, Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. You ready? You're the next one? Praying, Vandanam. Who is it that achieved perfection? Akrura. Can you tell us a little bit about Akrura achieving perfection through offering prayers?
My
Yeah.
They stopped to take a bath, and when the Quran went in the water, he didn't see Krishna in the water, but he saw
Anantashesh, Lord Vishnu. Okay. Is there a second time when he did offered prayers? Say yes. What was that second time? Hint, on the way in to Vrindavan. What happened? He saw the footprints of Krishna. And he rolled in the dust of Vrindavan, seeing the footprints of Krishna. And he offered beautiful prayers. That's good. That's good. Okay, we're running out of youngsters here. You want to be next? Yeah? That's yes. Okay. This means yes. Excuse me. Dasyam. Everyone knows the perfection of dasya. Perfection. Hanuman. Notice all of the others are in relation to Krishna or Vishnu. And here's one. He's the only one. He's very special. Hanuman. Serving as a friend. Serving as a friend. Yeah, Arjuna. And complete surrender. You're the completely surrendered one, huh? Who is that? Huh? Bali Maharaj. Okay, very good. So here we go to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. This is the real reason for the Lord's appearance. What's that? Propagating, hearing, and chanting. First, there's ignorance of vidya, and then desire, kama. So first comes vidya, then comes desire, and then action, karma bihi. You come to engage those suffering due to actions arising from material desires which are due to ignorance in actions for attaining prema. The destruction of suffering is incidental because it is said in the next verse, the results of hearing about the Lord is seeing the lotus feet of the Lord. By seeing the Lord, one attains prema. And a nice painting of Srila Prabhupada with dictating his Bhaktivedanta purports and seeing Krishna with Radha, seeing Krishna with Arjuna, seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his loving associate, Haridas Thakur. So this is, as you remember, let's go back a little bit. There was some series of verses where she was saying, who can understand you? Because you're beyond the capacity. Mind, you're inconceivable. There's all these contradictory qualities in you, and who can understand? And we saw it 3 times. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, when there's disagreement, who can understand? And no one can understand. By material faculty. But then by bhakti, one can understand. To some degree, the limited living entity can get a glimpse of the unlimited, but in a transcendental way. So she is from a position of complete humility. I was using this adjective, abject humility. And in my little somebody sent me a very nice verse, and we're going to end with this. Someone sent me a very nice verse from Rupa Goswami's Stava Mala. Stava, prayers, Mala, string. So in Stava Mala, he writes something and I forwarded this to one of our translators in China, and they had a nice question. Here's the verse. Of course, there's the Sanskrit for the verse. I am scorched by the blazing forest fire of old age, deeply bitten by the poisonous snake of spiritual blindness, pierced by the sharp arrows of forced dependence on others, and surrounded by the lions of anger, lust, and greed. Oh, Lord Krishna, please give me the nectarian potion of pure love for you, which will make me strong and heroic enough to resist all the enemies and constantly engage in your pure, unalloyed devotional service without deviation. Now, how's that for humility? So, advanced devotees, Raghunath Das is one, and Queen Kunti is another, and our founder Acharya is another. And the extent of their humility, it's profound. It's embarrassing. Can persons so elevated really feel those feelings? Like, Queen Kunti was saying about Mother Jasoda. And Krishna, he who is feared by fear personified is afraid of that little stick in Mother Jasoda's hands, and he's crying. And it's not pretending crying. He's actually fearful. Who can understand this? But, transcendental emotion between Krishna and his dearmost mother, he's feeling fearful. So she throws the stick away or to the side. And he's, rubbing his eyes and stops crying. And like, what's a mother going to feel when seeing that? So he's stimulating her motherly love. That's what he's doing. But at the same time, he is experiencing an exchange of rasa with her. It's loving dealing. Then who can understand loving dealing? Those that are involved in loving dealing can understand to some extent, and others, they're bewildered by it. Just like today morning class, one devotee was asking, of the so many qualities of Krishna, there's 64 primary, but there's unlimited, and what's the most outstanding? And they're all most outstanding. They're all superlative. That's an honest, truthful statement. Yet, the merciful nature of Krishna, from as far as Uddhava is concerned, and I think I feel the same way. Who can be so merciful? So, and who can be afraid of Mother Yasoda's stick? Who is feared? So they're all superlative, but there's three main reasons we all know from Bhagavad Gita. What's the verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, "You like Bhagavad Gita?" That was a yes or a no? Yes. Okay. You know the verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says the three reasons? Pritranaya sadhanam, vinashaya saduskritam. Okay, so those are three reasons. To protect the devotees, to admonish, or to finish duskritis, and to restore dharma. And there another very, 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 there was three varies, important reason. And that is stimulating love in his devotees and experiencing love with his devotees. But of all places in Vrindavan, because there's such intimacy, and there's intimacy that it's just not matched by any of the other forms of the Lord. It's not matched by any of the other, the intimacy, the sweetness. So there's these four, this is Rupa Goswami, the four special characteristics in Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And this Madhurya feature is one of them. There's a sweetness, superlative. Who knows, who wants to say what those are, or any one of the other three? Venu Madhurya, right? You know that one? What's that one? Venu Madhurya? Yeah. Krishna doesn't play flute outside of Vrindavan. So, Leela Madhurya, Venu Madhurya. What are two others? Rupa Madhurya. Say something about Rupa Madhurya. But say something more than what Rupa means. Say.
It's talking about his eyes, how they are different and very attractive.
Who wants to add to this? Maline. That's nice. I think I've heard this before. Queen Kunti. So, Rupa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya. What else? Leela Madhurya. What else?
Is Guna one of them?
Huh?
Guna.
Guna Madhurya?
Yeah. Is that one of them?
I think so. Huh? But no, this is Rupa. Remember Rupa Goswami? You've heard his name before. He has these four characteristics of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan that are so sweet. The sweetness of Krishna's pastime. He's always with them, yes. But Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Prema Madhurya? Prema Madhurya? You're looking around. Do you know? You're just taking a good guess. Govinda, do you know? How about your good wife? Do you know? What's the fourth one? You know what I'm speaking about? You don't know what I'm speaking about? You've not heard these four? Oh, come on. The four features of sweetness of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Madhurya, 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 Madhurya. There's a fourth one. Prema Madhurya. There's a sweetness of his love that's unlike any other love anywhere else in his pastimes in Vrindavan. And it's true. Okay. So there are 8 parts to this little presentation on Kunti's prayers, and we're going to end with number 5. So I guess another time we'll have to do the other 3, 6, 7, and 8. Hold your breath. Any discussion? Yeah. Govinda. Microphone's right here in my lap. You got to pay attention. You're distracted like anything. You sit right in front. I'm chastising you. You sit right in front and you're so distracted. You distract me because you're distracted. You're all over the place. You're going to sit in the front, stay focused. You want to get all over the place? Go sit back there somewhere or something like that. You're being chastised publicly. I was not going to do it, but I just had to do it because you're distracted. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. No, I'm a little scared to ask a question now.
No, you're not sitting in the front.
Okay. Maharaj, sometimes Krishna can be seen as strict, yet he's very merciful. How can we reconcile the strictness and the mercy?
It depends on the circumstance what he's strict. He's reciprocating love. And some persons require the stick. And so he can be very strict. He can be. But when he's strict, it's out of love. Even if the person is to be chastised like this. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but I decided to. So, it's for the welfare of the other. It's very similar to Lord Shiva in the Daksha Yagya. And Virabhadra and so he was angry. And Brahma came to him, his father came to him and said, spare his life. And then Daksha said, these demigods and these people that were behaving this way, I'm not affected at all by their speech and their behavior. I did what I did because they needed to be corrected. And as far as bringing Daksha back to life, he already lost his head, and he's already got a goat's head. So he can just bring him back to life, he can stay with a goat's head. But it was because Daksha did what Daksha did. He lost his head, literally. So when there's that's Shiva, what to speak of Krishna, he's all powerful. Whatever power Shiva has comes from the power of Krishna. So if he exercises strictness, it's kindness. Because some persons can't understand otherwise. Prabhupada uses this Latin phrase, argumentum ad baculum. You've heard that one? It's Latin. Stick. Some persons can't understand. So therefore the stick. And one moment this, the next moment that. Depending upon the recipient. But kindness always. Never, no unwavering kindness. Including strictness, because that's sometimes needed, depending. Is that okay? Someone else behind you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, as you are saying that who can be more merciful than Krishna, so can we consider that his pure devotees are more merciful than Krishna?
Well, if you want to argue that, you can. But you go tell Uddhava. And see what Uddhava says. Certainly one can make an argument like that. And you can give this example, that example. From scripture and, Krishna's behavior and the devotees are more merciful. Radharani's more merciful. Etc. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he's Krishna himself. But he's exhibiting a Mahavadanyaya, a greater mercy. Because Krishna demanded surrender and Lord Chaitanya didn't demand surrender. Most merciful. What do you think? And in the role of a devotee, right?
Yes, Maharaj. As in Sharanagati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that Krishna se to mara, Krishna dete pa, daitava pache pache.
Sure. So that's it's true. It's not untrue. But where does that kindness of the devotee come from? Touche. Anyone else? Yeah, there's an enthusiastic questioner over here. Someone back here has a microphone? Go for it.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, this is a question from your the morning class.
Sure.
And it's more kind of a speculative question. We hear that sadhu sangha is intrinsic or the basis. So still, is that the period, or
Is that what?
is it like period over there, or can we assume is it,
We got 16 voices, but I can't understand what you're saying. Is that what?
is that the end of it, like
The end of it. End of what?
the fact that sadhu sangha is the basis, or can we assume spiritual?
Shraddha is the basis. So what's your point? I mean, I don't understand. Just help me understand.
I would ask Maharaj that can spiritual progress be assumed if there is no sadhu sangha?
What happens when there's no sadhu sangha? That's your question?
Yeah.
Suffer. What happens when there's no sadhu sangha? You suffer. Are there people out in this world that are suffering? Yes. You know, a remedy, it may take a while, for the remedy to come into full effect, but sadhu sangha means many things. But the activities with and serving the sadhus, bhajana kriya and serving the sadhus. That means pleasing Krishna. So, why are you asking this question? I'm asking you a question. What's the impetus for asking this question?
It always, sometimes it feels like let's do bhakti alone, or because chanting is the process, the final pure chanting. So let's do it alone without devotee association. So it arises from there.
Well, you know what Scripture says about chanting alone. Why would one want to chant alone? Bhaktisiddhanta was really powerful. Like he'd get his stick out and smash that one. Somebody wants some adoration. So they go in a secluded place and chant alone, imitating Haridas Thakur, because they want adoration. That's advised against. Supposing there is no association, supposing you can chant when there isn't association, you're in a penalty box because you chanted alone because there was no option. You're supposing whatever the situation, solitary confinement in jail for some reason. And then what? Chant. So get practical. If there's opportunity for association, then you should be eager for it. And if there isn't, then you accept the arrangement that Krishna's made, at least, for that temporary period of time when there's no association. And then you create association by being a Vaishnava. What do you think?
Yes, Maharaj.
It's okay. Okay. She's enthusiastic over here.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So when we distribute books, and specifically when we distribute the Bhagavad Gitas and students who read them, one of the most often questions we get is, when Prabhupada says women are less intelligent and therefore untrustworthy. And so we see here in these prayers of Queen Kunti,
She's very intelligent.
very intelligent.
And she's also speaking of herself as being unfortunate because she's in a woman's body.
She's in a woman's body. So how would you address these
How do you address?
women?
Let me ask you how you address.
Oh,
Your husband
and
is
then
bearing
also-
his eyes in his arm and he doesn't want to hear.
and also my second part was I feel like
I'm
some.
asking you a question.
Okay.
How do you respond?
I say that women maybe have a different form of intelligence.
Yes.
Okay. That is greater.
Yeah. There's multiple things you can say, but that's one of them.
Okay. What are the other multiple?
There's multiple. Here's one of the multiple. Here's one of the ones that Prabhupada has said in response to that topic. Not so much someone was with a pointed question, but he brought the topic up. And one of the things he said is, look at in history and see if there are many examples of highly elevated philosophers or scientists. No, modern times is another story, but higher. So the role of a woman in society is not to be the big intellectual. The role of the woman in society is her motherly quality and extending care and compassion, not only for her own children, but her motherly quality. And that's as Mother Nature, as so a woman, and that's a function. And one who wants that of a different function than that function, they're just sticking your tongue out at what nature is, with God's arrangement for everyone. So are there intelligent women? Obviously there's intelligent women. There's you start making a list of intelligent women. But the intelligent women are not ruffled by their social role. They're happy to be in their social role. And they're not self-deprecating and calling themselves, I'm a stupid woman. But they're not holding them, on the contrary, they're not holding themselves up as a special person. Now, are there special? Definitely. Yeah, and Kunti is one, and there's so many others. Then then Prabhupada would say, women want to be equal. Can women, then he would get real pointed. Can a woman have a child without a husband, without a male companion? So and once the child is there, what's their duty? So why does one want to change one's duty? The duty that nature has given. Then it doesn't. It's not like a distraction from the question, but child is the father of man, which is, it's a contradiction of language. It's a contradiction of language. The child is not the father. The father is the father, but the father of mankind. So, and who's going to produce the child? The man is not going to produce the child. The mother is going to produce the child, and that's this superlative function, an essential function in society. So let a woman be satisfied serving her function. And if a woman is not satisfied serving her function, she's not going to be happy in any sphere. So are there very intelligent persons in ISKCON today, or go back in time in history like Queen Kunti and superlative intelligent? No, you know, the audience that you're dealing with, you know, that you may draw a blank stare back from them when you say all these things. Like, really? I'm supposed to be convinced by all of that? Chauvinist. Your guru's a chauvinist. Then, you know, look at how he conducted himself with ladies, with such dignity. Outstanding. I mean, one of the times hearing a story about Prabhupada that made me cry was a story about how he dealt with Mother Jamuna. Here's a story, and you know, if you can cry if you want. Prabhupada had established. I mean, there's some history that led up to this, but he called it the World Sankirtan Party, and they had a base. The base was Delhi, and so the World Sankirtan Party would go perform Sankirtan because they're really good, and Jamuna was among the really good kirtaniers. And Prabhupada was in Ahmedabad, and some arrangement was made for him to be at a Pando program. So he sent a communication, I don't know, you know, a letter or something. Please come and join me for this Pando program in Ahmedabad. And they were like, yay, be with Prabhupada again. So they got on a train, and Prabhupada was standing at the station. The world acharya leading an organization that's growing kaboom, he's standing at the train station to receive them as they cut off the train. And then he took them to the place where they were going to stay. And he had the keys for because he'd already gone there and checked out, made sure it was going to be okay. He gave them, he opened the door with his key. It opened the door and showed them, this is the bed, this is the desk, this is a place where you can keep your valuables, you know, with a lock on it because it's India. You got to keep stuff locked up in India. And, you know, and then, is there anything else that you need? And he's standing there like, I'm your servant. And how did they feel? And it was specifically, it was Jamuna and a few ladies in the room, because men were over in another place. And, you know, she was crying. And, you know, hearing this description, so he's not a chauvinist, please. And if he wants to write something about a social function of a spirit soul in a woman's body, it's not coming from a place of chauvinism. What's it coming from? A place of social, you know, an ideal social situation for the most intelligent woman. And gosh, Jamuna was very intelligent. A different kind, as you said. But, you know, she wasn't the scholar. But she wasn't the scholarly kind, but she had an understanding that many men didn't have because of her bhakti. And so she was an authority. I mean, I could go on. Different kind. That's a different kind than the scholarly kind. And are there women with scholarly kind? Yes. Definitely. I can give some names. But, you know, speaking in a general sense. And there's exceptions, yes. Anyone else? Silence, wow. That means you're satisfied. I guess that's what it means. Srila Prabhupada ki or Pimalandi.